Good morning. All right. So, we get up every day and we look at our computer, we turn on the TV. Where's the markets? And we see the Dow. Well, I got the S&Ps up here. S&Ps are up 21 points. Dow is up 216, 253 from the open. And like any minder that we look at and say, okay, X is up so much, Y is gapping above whatever. You look at the chart and say, does that create some type of event that tells me this is the moment in time? And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes they're neutral, and kind of like, yes, maybe not. Anyway, so what we see here, looking at the S&Ps, and let's just expand the daily out here a little bit since we don't need that prior data. But what we see here is, so far, the third inside day from the last drop as prices move down there. This was Thursday as prices collapsed and then moved down further, stabilized a little bit. And so far, we've got some stabilization. We have no idea where this green candle is going to end by the end of the day. It might be up here. And at that point, I would say that's a meaningful event since it finally took out at least a prior day's high. But so far, it's just trading sideways. I'm personally a little skeptical that markets can hold on here because they haven't really proved themselves yet. It's 9:10 in the morning, right? The cash market hasn't even opened yet. So the futures basically just opened up where they finished off. And now they've pushed up and you can see the trading range that is in place here. And so like with any trading range, can it get through the top of it? And right now it's just up near the prior high. It's got a ways to go, which would make it look a bit more convincing, of course, because you'd have a wider green daily bar. However, can it get through there? And then ultimately, can it hold on? So when we look at this from a perspective of a swing trade, maybe over a few days to where prices might be able to come up into this resistance area, we're still not sure, but this is a good start. Ideally, I would have preferred that they gapped higher. So if we look at the spiders, we're going to have a gap higher, and that's a positive. So let's take a look at that. And so we had this topping tail day where they gave back the gain and closed near the low. And now we're going to get, you can see the overnight trading, but still moving up to the top of the range. But when this chart opens, it's going to be roughly at 276, right? Gapping up, well, not quite to the top of the topping tail bar. So that'll be a positive, but this is not convincing, for me yet. It's a good start, but let's see what happens because nonetheless, this is where sellers have been coming in every day since the drop, and we just have a trading range. So if it can get through here, now we're talking. And of course, it's got to get through and hold on a little bit because, it came from the lower part of the range up to the top part of the range. And let's see how this shapes up here for at least, I would say 15, 20 minutes or so at the open, since it's moving up to the top of the range. Technical Analysis 101 assumes that there's going to be sellers up there. Now let's see what their reaction is. And does it go sideways at resistance? That's bullish. Does it form a tail bar, bottoming type of tail bar? Does it meaning a reaction to that resistance and recover? That would be a positive. Does it move down a red bar and immediately reverse back up with a green bar? That would be another positive if that was to happen. If it opens up there and falls to the bottom of the range, well, you know what that means too. So the bottom line here is don't get excited because you turn on the news or look at a minder and it says prices are up, a certain amount, which sounds somewhat impressive on the surface. But when you look at the chart, is it really impressive? Let's continue. Qs. Right. Still just an inside day, getting up toward the top of the range here. Same message. It's improving, but it better get going soon because otherwise buyers are going to start to lose confidence here. Right. Clearly they stepped up. Sellers came in, knocked it down. Buyers are stepping up again. And over time, right, we had this discussion in the room yesterday. Over time, what happens is prices go sideways here and they don't rally. And we talked about, well, kind of that's a starting point. Then look at individual bars. So let's say that, examples. What if this bar today turned into a topping tail bar? And this is where the concept of bar by bar analysis becomes really powerful. Right? That in of itself would be bearish, black and white, and it would suggest prices would be going down. Well, if the next day we got a green bar like this and closing up near the highs after a topping tail bar, that would be a pretty convincing arrangement of price bars. So again, we'll see. Right now, same message. We're up at the top of the range. Let's see what buyers and sellers are going to do at the top of the range. Dow, same thing, no difference, right? Pretty much, maybe for the first time in a little while, things are moving in lockstep with each other, with similar patterns and messages here. Versus, when the Dow made a new all-time high, it was lagging, and then it played catch up, and the S&Ps and the Qs didn't, but they were right there as if they were going to, and then, the world came to an end, so to speak, on a day-to-day basis. So same message here. You got a wide range bar crushing to the downside. The support held. That in itself is somewhat bullish and impressive that it could hold there. But so far, it's just, not able to get off the mat in a meaningful way. So let's be objective about all of this. We want to be buyers here, looking for a tradable bounce, of course. But let's see if the intraday shapes up. And it's beginning to. Well, let's get a little bit more confirmation as to that happening. Bonds are flat, sideways here in a downtrend. They almost reached that support point, and it's in a downtrend. So the assumption is it'll go down again. And if it does, well, if this is what got the market, all roiled and dropping, and bonds start to drop, interest rates going up, well, we can assume that the markets are going to get nervous again. Let's see. So what if they pop up and start to rally here? Maybe that's a relief for the market. So let's set an alert, see if they start to move up or if they start to move down, and that could give us a heads up. I'm not trading bonds, but their movement could give me a heads up as to what's going on with equities. So let's see. Oil is down a bit, not meaningful in the context of the prior 2 days. It's a pretty decent sized pullback, but, just primarily interested in this to see if this ETF, which just got slammed last week after reaching the top of the range, can begin to stabilize again. Let's take note. Financials here are stabilizing. They had some earnings reported last week, and that didn't work out too well. So again, pretty nasty stuff going on. And let's get that extra information to prove these markets can get some legs before jumping in there aggressively. Gold doing well after surviving, looking like it was going to turn down from this base, but then, our president came out and said the Fed is basically out of their minds. I don't know if he used the word local. He said out of control, and that had to put a damper on a view of the Fed raising interest rates, which creates the view, hey, this has got to be inflationary. So people bought gold. And we'll see, this looks good, like a start of a move. And there was a whole bunch of volume here. It didn't go further, but it's kind of grinding here. So it looks like, the base after a downtrend. That looks like the start of a move to me. And what else I got here? We got some movers here, but it's, a lot of them are inside days. The marijuana stocks, which Dan caught a hold of yesterday, was on the spot there with those. Those were doing nicely, but we got a lot of stuff here that, it's up, but really not a big deal. This is of interest to me that, it's was really in favor on the way up here, and it's pulled back to where it should try and move higher. So I've been keeping an eye on that. Microsoft, basically an inside day. Apple, inside day. So it's not like we're coming into the markets today, and even though they're up here, it's like, okay, this is it. Maybe it is, but I think we need a little bit more to go on. So take it over, Dan.
All right, thanks. Good morning. Yeah, I had the same reaction. The first thing I do whenever I wake up, I flip on the TV, see where we're trading. And when I saw the big gap up, obviously I don't have the levels memorized in my head, but I was thinking that if we were gapping above that 15-minute consolidation trading range in the indices, that this is going to be a no-brainer 15-minute high day. But then I look at my charts, and that's why I said I like the Qs the best here, because look, it's consolidating pre-market here in the top part of this resistance. Whereas the other ones, I have zero interest. Yeah, okay, the spiders are slowly churning a little bit higher, but you see where they opened and where I looked at them, they're right smack in the middle. There's absolutely nothing to do there. So if we do get bullish, based on the scenario Greg just described, then my go-to today is the Qs. So that answers that. We don't have that many open positions. Yeah, we did good in the pot stocks. We're on 3 of them. I wish we were in 5 or 6, but that's all right. We nailed them. And there's, let's watch the whole sector. I keep saying, I think there's going to be great opportunity for many months. Walmart did not trigger, but if it does, it's valid. In fact, it's more valid because then it would negate yesterday's red bar. They have, I don't know if it's their annual meeting or conference or something or other, but I think that's why the higher volatility for this week is because of that conference or shareholder meeting, again, whatever it's called. FL, we did a put spread. Moss, we've been in this for a number of weeks. And that's a low maintenance trade. We've been in it since this gap up day. And we're short way the heck out of the money puts. So look at this. If you were trading this stock, you would have to go to the drugstore and buy, what's it called? Some type of heartburn medicine. I mean, for you to sit through that. But our short puts, zero concern. Looks great. Spider, we added a put spread yesterday, and that you can see right where it sucked me in. So I like the gap up in that. We'll be tightening the stop. Our little Goro, we're out of 2/3 of a position. It looks great on the 15-minute chart here. IYT, we have some naked puts for Friday. And, the 3 marijuana stocks, MJ is gapping up. Tilray, put spread. CGC, put spreads. Prilosec. Yeah, I don't have to, whatever. I don't take any of that stuff. Thank God. So yeah, I'm short a bunch of naked puts in this that expire Friday. So those are acting well. All right, let's look at a couple gappers here. Race Ferrari, nasty downtrend up to 122. It's a bullish gap, but no pattern. It's an ADR. I got no interest in that. SEND 34, and it's a fairly new IPO, right? I've never heard of it. Downtrend daily, but uptrend weekly, above the 50. John, no. Well, let me, and it's not a novice question at all. It's not at all, because this has to do with, look, I said bid. Let's try to squeeze another nickel out of this. Here, let me post it right now, actually, because yesterday I said, all right, let me see what the current closing mid price. So no, it's not a novice question, because it always has to do with how many days to expiration, how much remaining potential profit are you trying to squeeze out of the lemon, and is it worth it? So the midpoint to close was 10 cents. So try to close for, so to, you know, this is Tuesday morning, right? So we still have 4 days of risk. But if you think the, you know, the odds of it expiring worthless are 99.9, then that choice is up to you if you want to let it expire worthless, or if you want to free up capital, you got no more headaches in case there's some disaster. What happens if it becomes legal tomorrow, and then you know, something crazy on the news happens that says 5 people just died, you know, smoking Tilray's pot, and the thing gaps down 50 bucks. So my strategy is, if I can squeeze the majority out of it, then take it and run. But that's 4 days to expiration. If it were only 1 day, then I would say, no, let it ride. So you see the difference there? And there's no right answer. And that's why many times I make it a group discussion. I'm like, what do y'all think? And we had that same discussion yesterday with IYT. The midpoint was, that expires Friday, was 20 cents. And my assistant, Pat, helped me when she sang the song.